guys, it's Chris, and I haven't actually done a vlog since I did Vlogmas over Christmas, so I thought I would pop on and do another one just because I've sort of had some stuff on my mind since the other day, since Friday, okay, so over the weekend. And yeah, it's just kind of been on my mind a wee bit, and I thought, you know what, why don't I vlog about what's on my mind? Because that's what we do in the modern era. We don't keep things to ourselves anymore. We broadcast it out there for the whole world to see. So, you know, that's a thing. But no, what I wanted to talk about was, it was just recently my pick for #WeAreMovieClub. And I picked a New Zealand movie, Once Were Warriors. Now, any New Zealanders that are actually watching this will know that it is not a light-hearted comedy romp. It is a pretty horrifically graphic movie that depicts quite heavily domestic violence and rape of both an older woman, like a wife-aged woman, and a minor. So not light-hearted stuff at all. It's a horrible watch, but at the same time it's not. It's weird. Now, and I mentioned though in my review that I did second guess myself for picking the movie just because I had a really personal connection to the movie, and to a lot of the themes in the movie. So I can't get comfortable in my chair at the moment because I'm injured yet again from pretending to be a ninja. Should really just give up on that and accept that I am not a ninja. Anyway, so I mentioned that I had like a personal connection to the movie, or to the themes in the movie, and it's been weighing on my mind for kind of sort of since I said that, and I kind of need to unload. So internet, unfortunately, you're it. You can click away now if you just really don't care about my ramblings, but I wanted to talk about why it was that I sort of had such strong emotions about this movie. See, when I was growing up, I had, on the one hand, if I was to look back at my childhood, it was pretty damn idyllic, you know. I lived with my granddad. I was spoiled rotten. I was his little princess. Sorry, Liz and Sarah, if you guys are watching, because you're subscribed to my channels, but let's face it, everyone knows it. I was Granddad's favourite. Yay. Yeah, and so, yes, there were a fair whack of bad things that did happen that obviously led me to the point of living with my granddad and having him raise me. But it's not really a lot of stuff that kind of at the time, if I was to think back on it, really affected me in any way. But, you know, and we lived in this great little neighbourhood. I remember for my 5th birthday, the whole street basically shut down and closed off the street and threw this big, huge birthday party for me, because my birthday is so close to Christmas. It kind of became a bit of a street Christmas party thing at the same time. But, I mean, the main focus was on me, because I was an adorable child. Ridiculously precocious, but you know, it's all about me, and they all knew that, and they were all happy with that, and everyone knew and loved Granddad, and it was great. But I remember when I would have been probably no more than 7, and her family moved in next door to us, and they had a daughter about the same age as me, so we got along quite well, and I would spend a lot of time hanging out there with her. And for the most part, I mean, I really did view the world ridiculously innocently. I mean, my grandfather tried to shield me from so much of what was actually happening in and around me in my personal life, that there was a lot of stuff that I kind of missed and didn't notice. But I remember, and I'll never forget sort of the whole day of, I was over at my friend's house, and you know, it was her, she had a brother who was a few years older than her, her mum and her dad, and for the most part I thought their dad was a nice guy. I mean, you know, he helped me ride my bike, let me pick flowers in their garden for whatever crazy child reason I decided that I needed flowers. Never got angry at me for like climbing over their fence, even though I'd been told time and time again to walk around and use the gate for whatever reason. But we were there playing Barbie dolls, and her dad came home, and he was a very, very ugly drunk. which up until that point I'd never really seen. I mean, from where my bedroom was to their house, if I had the windows open, I could sometimes sort of hear noises coming from their house, but I never really thought too much of it. I mean, when you're a child, you don't. And he came home, and for whatever reason, my friend's brother had done something to piss him off, and he just lost it. He went completely Jake the Muss heck yeah on the family. Well, mostly on, it started out on the son, and, you know, I mean, like I said, I was only around 6 or 7 when it happened, and he was only a few years older, and their mum stepped in to defend him and protect her child, which, I mean, props to her for that, but it was terrifying, because I didn't know what was happening. All I could hear was just all this screaming and yelling, and there were glasses and dishes being broken, and my friend just was so calm about it. And she was the same age as me, and she'd obviously been exposed to it so much in her life that she didn't even think anything of it, other than to grab me, and we went and hid in her wardrobe, and I was in tears. I was crying so much, but she obviously didn't want me to make a noise, and I can still to this day remember the way that she was holding me so tightly, and, you know, she was the same age as me, but anything to sort of drown out the sound of my crying so that their dad wouldn't hear. And it literally felt like time stretched on forever. All I could hear was just the screaming and the crying and just all of this breaking glass and stuff around us. And it was up until that point in my life, I don't think I'd ever experienced anything like that before, and I was absolutely terrified by it. And thinking back on it though now, what scares me and terrifies me even more is how almost accepting my friend was of it. It was something that she'd grown up with, and it was so common to them that she was sort of able to take control of the situation to keep me quiet and keep me hidden and hope that nothing happened to me. And she was only like 7. So like I said, it felt like at the time that, you know, time literally stretched on forever. And when we finally didn't hear any noise, she sort of snuck me out of the house and made me run home to my grandfather. And I was terrified. She'd said, don't say anything, because obviously, you know, you never know what it was that was going to set her father off. Sometimes he could have been a nice drunk. I don't know. I'm a happy drunk. He could have been a happy drunk. I don't know that. But for that time at least, he was not. He was actually pretty horrible and pretty scary. And I remember not saying anything to Granddad for a while, because I was scared and I didn't know what was going to happen, and I didn't understand really what had happened until it probably would have been a few weeks later, and I heard noises coming from their house again, but this time I kind of understood what it was, or at least I thought I understood what it was. So I, in the end, told my Granddad about what had happened, and I was never allowed to go over to their house again. I never really saw my friend again, and it would have only been about 6 months later that they ended up moving away. Now, the thing that gets me now when I think about it is I can't remember her name. I have no idea what that family's name was, and now my grandfather's passed away, so he doesn't know, you know, can't obviously tell me their name. So I have no way of following up to find out whatever actually happened to that family. And it's something that, I know I was only 7 at the time, but I still feel a lot of shame about it, that I didn't speak up sooner, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if they moved away as a family, or if the children were removed from the house, or if, you know, their mother finally found her own strength and stood up for herself and her children and left him. And I have no way of knowing what happened. I don't know if they made it out, or if he changed, or any of it. And it's just, it's something that had kind of plagued me for a really long time, especially after I first saw this Once Were Warriors. Now, I saw it when I was about 15, and I had to beg my grandfather to let me see this, and I ended up using it for a school media report, because it is such a powerful movie, and the way a lot of the themes are utilised was something that was brilliant to study. But it always reminded me and brought me back to that night. I mean, yes, I have a lot of other similar aspects to this movie that have popped up in and around my life, but they're things that I would never talk about online, out of respect for my sisters and my brother, because it does involve my evil step bitch. So, you know, that stuff will never see the light of day. But that one moment, it really changed me. I went from being, like, I remember I was very, very innocent at that time, and I didn't think that there could be anything bad in this world. My grandfather had shielded me from it so well. But yet, that day still haunts me even now. And so part of the reason why I wanted to choose this movie is because domestic violence isn't talked about. You know, my friend went to the same school as me. She would come to school with bruises and stuff. She would never say anything. Because she was living in a household of terror. And there's just such a culture, not just here in New Zealand. New Zealand is quite bad for it, I will admit. I mean, the whole of the country is not like the way it's depicted in the movie. That it is only a small percentage, but it's, in my opinion, it's still too large of a percentage. And people close ranks. They don't talk about it. You're supposed to keep your mouth shut. You don't dob in your neighbours that you've seen, you know, giving their kids or the wife the bash. You don't. And it's wrong. And the only way to sort of stop these issues of domestic violence and all the horrors that come with it is to talk about it. So I really did debate for a while about picking this movie. My husband was even like, no one will get it. One, it's a very New Zealand movie, and two, it's a horribly hard movie to watch. And I did debate for a while, is it the right movie to pick? And I know there are some people that didn't get it, who didn't like it, and I have nothing but respect for them regardless of their thoughts on the movie. I don't judge anyone for not liking it or not being able to sit through it. It's a difficult movie that hits you really hard, and you don't even need to have experienced that type of violence personally in your life to be affected by it. If anything, the ones that aren't, or who've never seen that type of lifestyle, are usually the ones that are affected the most by it. But it had been kind of weighing on my mind this week, especially since I did my review of, did I do enough? I know I was only 7. I mean, I told my granddad, but then I don't know what he did. I don't know if he called Child Protective Services. I don't know if he stepped in to help. And I mean, I like to think that he would have, because that was who my grandfather was. He would help anyone and everything, anyone with anything. So I like to think that hopefully maybe he did, but maybe I should have done more. And it's the fact that I have no idea what happened to them. That's the bit that gets me. I don't know. I can only hope that they're fine. So, yeah, that's kind of what's been on my mind. God, what a depressing vlog. Ugh. But, I mean, kind of sometimes that is the beauty of the internet. It gives you a chance to say stuff you're not always the most comfortable saying to people who are right there in front of you. Because then you can see them give you the, oh, face. Just, no. No one likes to see the pity face for any reason. Yeah. So that's what's been on my mind. I mean, I feel a lot better now that I've gotten it off my chest. Thank you, internet. That's awesome. Yeah. So now, if you've been tuning in to sort of see me be a drunk idiot, which I am quite often on this channel, this was probably a fucking downer. I apologise for that. I can promise there will probably be more drunk shenanigans and ranting and raving and whatnot coming soon. But you know what? Sometimes you just have to get things off your chest if you want to be that happy-go-lucky person, which normally I am. Just last few days, not so much. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go because this is a very long video, and I'm sorry. Thank you though for sticking with me. Thank you to those who actually have watched Once for Warriors. I know it's a hard watch, but I really hope some people got something out of it. I mean, for me, the biggest thing is don't be afraid to speak up. If you see anything like that, just say something. Say something to the right people. Maybe not so much to the wrong person, but yeah. It's depressing. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go hug my dog and eat some chocolate. That might oh, actually no, eating chocolate won't cheer me up. I'm gonna go hug my dog and eat a carrot stick. Yay! Okay guys, I'm Chris. I will be back with some more reviews this week because we've got a few more movies and stuff on the cards. One of which is Ghostbusters! So, fuck yeah, that'll perk me up a wee bit. Yeah. Okay guys, weird camera angle as well. I'm sorry, but what you gonna do? Cool, Ghostbusters maybe. It's funny. Okay guys, bye.